and welcome to the Mancunian Candidates here on FabRadioInternational.com and YouTube. My name's Paul Ripley, and this guy next door to me is...
I'm Mike Royce, and we've got some feedback, which is always nice to have, isn't it? It's nice to get some fan mail. You know, if we actually ever get any fan mail, that would be a lovely thing. So we did a clip from last week's show, which we entitled Hail to the Thief, which told the story of why Donald Trump is doing what he's doing and how he's actually ripping loads of people off. And we got loads of feedback. David Lieberman said, the Democrats' playbook on voter fraud is deny, 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 and when caught red-handed, demand proof. Ben Lagging, he says, the real truth is it did happen. Trump won. Massive fraud happened. Martial law solves it all. Wowzers. Enforce the Presidential Election Integrity Act of 2018. People actually go to jail. Votes actually are counted correctly. Fraud is proven. Wow. Tanmin Ahmed says, Trump loses amid a food crisis in New York City. I don't think that happens. And here's one that we actually couldn't allow to go on the channel because we're a bit worried. Yeah, Donna from DT, which I'm assuming is Detroit. I'm not going to read all of it out. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to read all of it out because of a reason later. But show is a total joke. The loudmouth asshole needs firing. Should not be in front of cameras. He's rude and offensive. Yeah. Having an expensive education. That did not happen. Doesn't give you the right to do everyone down. Even his mother must be ashamed of him. Well, I'll be honest with you.
My dad is.
My mother died 20 years ago of an accidental drug overdose. He reminds me of another one of you lot over there. He is an unsexy Peter Sutcliffe. If he is the best you can have to present a show, it's fucking unreal, this, isn't it? It's fucking unbelievable, this, isn't it?
Well, I've got the look.
It's no wonder Europe has kicked you out. And the rest of it we had to redact and not read out because it's all about Zionism and why the Jewish race is a blight on humanity. So there you go. That's that.
She has a point, though. Can't just look at you. Just look at me straight on.
The fact that person wants to fuck Peter Sutcliffe pretty much defeats any argument, though, doesn't it? You know?
Idiot.
Okay.
Oh, no. Who knows?
There's going to be some beeping in this one, isn't there? Yeah. So let's change the subject. Yeah. I mean, the COVIDiots are back, aren't they, in Manchester?
Last weekend, there was another march in town, and we got a clip here. So let's just play the clip first. So this is last weekend, Manchester City Centre. That's what they were shouting.
We're the Mancunian candidates and they are Mancunians.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Wow.
To say the least. Absolutely embarrassing. If you were one of them people and would like to get in touch with the show, please do and explain to me why you was doing that. Because Kris, the producer, just said then to me, he goes, whatever has been through this last 8 months, 9 months now, and they do that, it's like two fingers up to the world, really.
Well, this whole thing that runs through the vein of conspiracy theorists, wankers like this, is they all think that they know more than us sheeples, don't they? Yeah. They know more. Well, you don't know more. You don't know more. And if you were part of that march, you're an absolute bellend.
Total bellend. It's like this. If you go to East or West Africa, you need a jab. You need a vaccine to travel there. And they're used to that. They're used to that. You go to Mexico. My son was talking to my son today, and if you go to Mexico, you get certain jabs, certain vaccines, because of lots of reasons. Now, the West has got a disease, and we're like, oh, it doesn't really apply to us because it's for foreign places. And I've got nanobots running up my veins if I have a vaccine. It's absolute nonsense. But not only that, though, consider this though. If there was something going on about a new world order, I mean, really, the whole world would have to be in on it, wouldn't they? The whole world. I mean, places like Iran, Iraq, Russia would all have to be in on this scam that's going on by this new world order. Give it a rest.
Well, this is the problem with David Icke and his ilk and all these people, and Piers Corbyn and all these people that are appearing at these rallies. They're killing people. Yeah. You're getting people that don't know very much about this to be suckered into a belief system that's clearly wrong. I mean, the scientists know what they're doing. We've got a vaccine in record time. You know what gets me? My grandma, where my granddad went to war, and he was away for 5 years, and she was on her own. And she was on her own, and she just put up with that. And then they were engaged to be married. And then after 5 years, he came back, and they got married, bought a house which cost them 500 quid. Yeah. Can you believe that?
Yeah,
Buying a house that cost 500 quid. And that was it. They went through 5 years and they got through it. And a lot of people got through an awful lot of stuff. These pussies, can't take 8 months of just having to, stay under control, just not go out.
They want the freedom.
They don't know what freedom is. They've got freedom because of the people that I'm talking about. My granddad bought their freedom. So many fucking thousands of people bought their freedom during World War II. Sorry about that. But you know what I mean. I bet your dad agrees with the sentiment, if not the language. And this is it. This is the problem you've got.
But I think
bunch of pussies.
A lot of the blame is down to the internet, and I'm going to say this for this reason: for all the wonders of the internet, I can press some information, I press a few keys, and information comes up to me. So you're expecting, like Wikipedia, I know that can be edited and all the rest of it, but in general speaking, you can start log into everywhere and find out clear, clean information. But no one ever thought there would be misinformation to the level it is.
No, it's crazy.
So there you are, you're on the internet, and people say to you, do your own research. You do some research on some conspiracy about nanobots running up your veins, and you've got loads of articles about it. And you think, blimey, it must be true. It must be true. But the internet is so... I mean, it sounds like an old fart, and I don't want to. But we've got to look at America. I mean, we're going to talk about America later on. It's tribal now, and Brexit here, the left and right, and the people fighting it. The loudest voice seems to get through now.
Yeah,
the loudest voice.
That is the problem. That's the problem.
And that old saying about the loudest, empty vessels make most noise, and I couldn't agree more.
But these are the emptiest vessels I have ever seen in my entire life.
I'm ashamed of them people. I'm ashamed. I mean, I'm proud of Manchester. I'm Manchester lad and all the rest of it. And I'm proud of, and you've supported Manchester music and all sorts through all the time and the whole nightlife.
I'm a proud Mancunian, and I don't regret that. But these people are not Mancunians; they're just a bunch of assholes. You know,
Assholes.
Total end of.
Yeah.
We have got something funny though. Shall we break the mood a bit?
Yeah.
Right, because you may not be aware of something going on across the pond. Woke Santa.
No. Let's talk about the woke boom. Explain what that is.
Woke. I mean, woke. I mean, people know what that is. I mean, it's basically people that are trying to be politically correct to the point where it's painful.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to impose really serious nations on people who want to just be free to live their life. And sometimes that's right, but sometimes the right wing are looking for it all over the place. And woke Santa started a cacophony of dissolution. I mean, people were so angry about this last week. The right wing in America were like, woke Santa, this has gone ridiculous. These snowflakes are taking over. And I think it's best to see the video. This is woke Santa.
What? No guns.
Nerf gun.
No, not even a Nerf gun. Nope. If your dad wants to get it for you, that's fine, but I can't bring it to you. But what else would you like? Lots of other toys. There's Legos. There's bicycles.
Yeah, you'll still get it.
It's okay. Hey, buddy.
That breaks my heart. If there's one guy I don't like, it's liberal, gun-hating Santa's helpers, okay? By now, you've probably seen that viral video of the real-life Christmas Grinch, bringing a kid to tears after denying his Christmas wish of a Nerf gun. The bad mall Santa traumatized the kid, a young boy, so excited to meet Santa, the moment destroyed by this Chicago Santa's own political beliefs. You'll be happy to know that bad Santa was fired by the local mall, and the mall sent a new and improved Santa to grant the little boy's wish.
How are you?
Good.
So there was a mistake made yesterday, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we're so sorry about it. Okay? I heard about this up at the North Pole,
Yeah, me too.
and I rushed down to help.
But this is crazy. Listen for it.
This is the real Santa. Can you
Yes.
believe it?
So
Yay!
it looks
Thank
good.
you,
Here's
Santa.
another one.
Just like in real life, sometimes Santa's helpers go rogue. Santa put them in his place. So I put the call out to Stinchfield's army, okay? I said, find me that kid. And within 10 minutes of getting off the set, I had emails from y'all with his name and his mom's contact info. So, Michael, I got something for you. This is on behalf of all of us at Newsmax, on behalf of Stinchfield's army who helped me track down your mom. What do you
around and
think,
show
buddy?
them. What do you?
Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome, pal.
You wouldn't believe it, would you? If this was a few years ago, you'd think that was made up, the whole story. But this is where we are. I mean, the woke Santa. I just want to point out that when the right wing found out about this, and Newsmax and all the ilk, they then found out the address of woke Santa, who then ended up for 2 nights with a massive bunch of people with firearms at the bottom of his drive. He's not a rich guy. He's just in a little house, and he's got a bunch of militia at the bottom of his drive. Go down with woke Santa, and they're waving AK-47s and stuff at the house, which he's got children. It's wow.
Now, if you think that
Hey?
people are bellends,
Wow.
bellends, well, they're the same people over here marching the streets. It's the same type of mentality. It's just, it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy stuff. The right wing, the left wing, what's about common sense? Common sense. You're gonna fly away. Hopefully, I'll tell you what, they're all going on about, and I'm bringing it back to COVID idiots. hopefully they'll bring out a pass that'll go on your phone that you can go to places, go in bars, or go fly to America, or fly to wherever you want.
Oh, we're going to get
because
that.
They don't want that.
We're going to get that anyway. We will end up, like the film Contagion, we will end up with people that are vaccinated able to prove they've been vaccinated and go to countries unfettered and people. And do you know what? There's a little bit of me that goes, yeah, because if all of you lot in that march in Manchester this week have actually decided you're not going to take it, you're not going to, well, that's fine, that's your decision. Yeah. But you can't do anything then, can you? You can't go anywhere, can you?
Where's your freedom?
There you go. So your freedom's kind of screwed, really, isn't it?
Before we move on, though, I'd love you to subscribe to the video, if you would, please, to the channel. If it's below somewhere, you press something below and you'll see a subscribe button, a little bell. If you subscribe to it, it'd be fantastic. It helps us immensely. And also, we want to show off. We've got, how many people have we got so far?
Well, I'll tell you something. We've had nearly 90,000 views on the channel since we launched.
Thank you.
5 weeks ago.
Thank you.
5 weeks, 90,000 people. My God, you've nothing better to do than this. That's incredible.
90,000 people all wanting to look at Peter Sutcliffe. He's not dead.
Some
people say. Some people say.
It's not remotely funny, is it? I mean, what is this? You'll bring a hammer on next week, with a load of red and a bit of hair on the end of it.
That's not funny.
We've got some comments actually.
Yeah, but I'd like to also email in the show if you want to do as well. Mancunian Candidates at fabradiointernational.com. That's Mancunian Candidates with an S, not with a no S, because there's a guy from about 10 years ago who's on. It's not him. Candidates.
Why are you drawing attention to him? Someone else.
I was just saying.
You don't. You just don't talk about him, do you? That's
Well, he's there.
Anyway, Nick is saying, "Don't take the vaccine. Take your masks off." Now that's got nothing to do with freedom, but it has everything to do with responsibilities. Paul is spot on with the English exceptionalism. Stephen Blackmore saying there is 60,000 dead people because of COVID here. What planet are these morons on? I was in the city centre last Friday. I'm glad I wasn't in town that day. Geeky Sci-Fi TV saying I wouldn't mind nanobots running up my veins, to be honest. It might fix a few things. Inject 2 litres into me now, please.
Yeah. So I talked to someone about that, by the way, because it's a big conspiracy about they putting all this stuff inside you.
Oh yeah, well,
and apparently they can do this type of thing, or nearly there, but they can only do one action. They can only go up there. And say, for example, if you want heart surgery with nanobots, they can't actually run up there, cut this, move that, move it around. Just do one action. So they could be right in about 50 years' time.
Well, it might be, yeah. I don't think I'd give it to them. I want them to die out. Weirdly enough.
Should we move on?
Yes, we have. Although it's been on the night we launched this show, we launched with an 8-hour election special, and then at the end of that episode, we were quite despondent because it did look, even if you were allowing the mail-in votes to be in favour of Biden, it did look like Trump might have pulled it off. It turned out not at all. Everybody did what they were told. Trump asked everyone to vote in person, and Biden said mail-in because of COVID, and they did, and he got 80 or 90% of the vote. Now, has the right now? We're about on the 14th of December, the Electoral College meets and they decide who literally is the President of the United States. And we know who that is because they've certified the votes. We know what votes are going to be put there. But Trump is still fighting it. Now, have the right wing in the media accepted this?
Good evening. Given that many in the media and Democrats in general are anticipating a Biden administration, we thought we would start a special feature, news you can use, and we will unravel the Biden economic plan and introduce you to key members of the Biden administration, as many are anticipating a Biden administration. And at this point, I should tell you, I'm just kidding with you. I'm not going to do that stuff because it's not over, not by a long shot. All right, folks? Yes. Quit now? Hell no. I keep hearing this from people in my life, friends, some family, and even people in the news business who say, oh, it really seems like Joe is going to pull this out. Maybe you should start, planning accordingly. You know what I told them? I'm a Marine. And I remember the Marines who came before me, the ones on Iwo Jima. They were fighting the Japanese. Okay, now could you imagine if those Marines started talking to themselves? This island is awfully close to Japan, and, they were here first, and, maybe we should just, I don't know, learn Japanese culture and, Japanese cuisine and, just in case we don't pull this one off. If they did that, they would have lost, okay? You know what I'm getting at here? Can't think like that right now, because despite the media blackout, there is evidence, and it is accumulating. The media, the fact that they're not telling you about what happened today is evidence in and of itself that they know there's evidence that could undo this thing. The president was on fire tonight. He did a special speech released on social media. The networks didn't carry it. Scant mention of it right now on the internet, but for 45 minutes he made the case that this thing was stolen. He was very effective, and he made the case that more than fighting for himself, he's fighting for the country right now.
This election is about great voter fraud, fraud that has never been seen like this before. It's about poll watchers who were not allowed to watch. So illegal. It's about ballots that poured in, and nobody but a few knew where they came from, but they were counted, and they weren't for me.
Much more. Continue.
These irregularities are inexplicable unless there is a deliberate effort to accept ineligible ballots or fraudulent ballots.
It goes on.
What I'm saying now will be demeaned and disparaged, but that's okay. I just keep on going forward because I'm representing 74 million people, and in fact, I'm also representing all of the people that didn't vote for me.
He went on for 45 minutes, and all of it was fascinating. We don't have enough time to show you the entire speech. You can find it on Facebook. And he makes the case, and he got into some real details about Pennsylvania, about Michigan, about Detroit, stories that he's heard, testimony that has been made. It's all there. And if you weren't convinced before, you might be convinced after you hear the president speak. Right now, he doesn't have too many powerful people sticking up for him. He's got lawyers, he's got the people, but he doesn't have too many powerful allies. He has some, but not many. They miscalculated all over again because the president is at his best when everything and everyone is against him. Not everyone, we're with him, but you know what I mean.
It's difficult to put into words, isn't it, how messed up this situation is. You have a situation where the wrong person won the presidency. He became president. He wasn't up to the job. He was a dishonest crook. He has been nothing other than a bully and a crude individual during the 4 years that he's been in there. And now he set up this when he didn't think he was going to win the first election. He said, it's all fixed, and then when he won, apparently it wasn't fixed and it was great, and now he's redone it again. And everybody on that frame of thinking has gone along with this. I mean, just because you're right-wing, just because you're a conservative, a Republican, it doesn't mean you shouldn't recognise an asshole who's lying to you when they come along.
It was an experiment, wasn't it, that went wrong. Absolutely went wrong.
He took the party over.
I got told today, because why did you cover so much American politics regarding Trump? Because it's over there, it's over. But what the British people don't realise is what's going on there. And a wannabe dictator nearly changed America forever.
He has changed America for a long time. Not forever, but he's changed it.
If he got through this time, through his dealings...
If he'd have done it this time, it would be over. It would be game over, because then it's normal. His behaviour and his rhetoric becomes normalised. However, the fact that he's been rebuked, and yes, it was closer than I'm happy with. Yeah. There shouldn't be 70 million people voting for this dickhead.
Again, the internet.
But
the good news, though, is on the latest survey is that now 50% of Americans said they will take the vaccine.
Well, that's a start, but yeah, it should be 90%.
Yeah.
It should be 99%.
Well, it's not that here either.
No, I get that.
Talking of bad news, though, of people do things. Well, you've got some stories to tell, haven't you? Really, regarding what's gone on.
Well,
Starburst.
the problem with this whole era that we're going through now, the COVID era, which is something when as kids we're watching all these sci-fi films where plagues are unleashed and the future of humanity's wiped out and
Zombies.
Robots take over, zombies, all this sort of stuff, and you don't think you're going to live through it. And the other hat that I've got, me and the director of this show, Kris, we're editors of a sci-fi horror magazine called Starburst that's been going an awful long time, and we've been covering this, and our passion for cinema is absolute. We love cinema.
I mean, I'll let people know. I mean, in the office, which is over there somewhere, is I walk into the office in the mornings, or maybe afternoons, and there's an argument going on about a film about a certain director from 1972 who did this, and
it does happen.
It's madness. There's a passion about film and about cinema and about TV and about actors and directors, which is obviously put into the magazine, and it's been a horrible year.
It has been, because we've been producing a magazine which, on a whim by the London-based government, and I'm not using that term lightly. It does matter that they're based down there and that their major influence is looking after southern counties. And that's it. That's all there is to it. It's not been fairly handled. It's not been fair at all. Manchester in particular, where the magazine is based and where this show is being broadcast from tonight, has in particular been terribly dealt with by that government. And the cinema situation with it all closed and you can't go and watch a film, which is fine, we all get that. But at that point, you'd think the studio would go, hang on a minute, we've had 100 years of making money out of the cinema chains, the cinemas that carry our films and our products and show the work and the talent of all these people in the film industry. And we've had a year now where we've not been able to put them out and make the money that we've been making. We're not making as much money as before. Let's just maybe sit it out with them and help them so that when the cinemas reopen, we can all, just look back at 2020 and go, my God, that was terrible, but here we are now. Now, instead of this, you had first of all, Universal decided, I know, we've released a Trolls movie, the sequel, and it's made as much money by streaming as it did
they
at the cinema.
By streaming?
Yes,
like Netflix
on a Netflix type platform. They've all got access to them because they're major studios. But the thing is, when they release it on, say you release a film on one of these streaming platforms with a deal, you're paying them a fee, and they're not taking half of the revenue like the cinema chains are. So when it's all in circulation all around the world, there's a hell of a lot of money being made by a blockbuster, and quite rightly, the cinema have their cut of that. So if they can get to the point where they get the same amount of revenue but without that cut, that's amazing to them. So what they didn't realise, Universal, is this was a unique situation. It was the early months of the first 2 months of the lockdowns around the world, and they had a captive audience. So if they did that, then clearly they made a lot of money. But so then they decided, well, when this goes back to normal, we're going to put our movies out and we're going to release them, and they're available on streaming and at the cinema, which means that there's no unique selling point for the cinema. So the cinema is going to spend a fortune advertising these films and putting them out there, and they've got no exclusivity, they've no window. And they then, obviously the cinema chain, the major two, AMC and Regal, turned round and said, well, okay, you do that, but we're not going to show you film then. So it'll be streaming only, and when people are flooding back to the cinemas for a shared cultural experience, your films won't be on. And then they went, oh, all right, didn't think of that, okay. And they shitbag shuffled, and they decided, okay, we will put it on 6 weeks later, we'll give you an exclusive window for a time, and then while we actually stream it, and you've still got it on show at the cinema, you're helping to advertise that film on our streaming platform by it being on at your cinema, so you get a cut of the streaming revenue as well.
Right.
And that was fair.
Right.
Yeah. HBO, Warner's, they're launching a streaming platform, HBO Max, and they announced without discussing with the cinema chain, with the filmmakers, even with the people that have made the films that they were going to release at the cinema next year, they've decided for short-term reasons, we'll make slightly more money if we just stream it all and not hold back for a while. And they've put their entire slate of 17 movies they were going to release at the cinema next year on a streaming platform that you pay for. And it's literally, if this went ahead and everyone was fine with this and everyone streamed it and bought those subscriptions and watched those films that way, you're killing cinema dead.
So you're saying it's over with? Cinema's over?
No, I'm not. I'm saying that you need to not subscribe to those streaming platforms. I believe that common sense will prevail. I think Warner's will be talking to the filmmakers and a lot of other people and the cinema chains, and that something sensible will prevail. But I'm
not
just
too
saying,
sure about this, mate.
Well,
I'm not too sure. I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why.
All right.
Back in the day, the Victorian time, sort of vaudeville.
Yeah.
People used to go to be entertained at the theatre.
Oh, I've heard this one before. Go on.
Right. And then cinema came along, black
Yeah.
and white films.
Yeah.
And that was over with and dead and over. And the black and white films. And then
Yeah.
for a period of time it went to colour, and it came to cinema as we know it.
Yeah.
It's actually got better. However, it's got more expensive as well to go to the cinema.
Yeah, it has.
A lot more expensive.
I'm not
than cinema.
defending that there's
And
not been problems.
Some cinemas and some cinema chains have ripped people off, I say, by the cost of the food inside the place.
Yeah.
The drinks inside the place.
I accept that, yeah.
And it's just a situation inside. I mean, horrible seats and not comfortable.
Yeah, okay.
And now we have a choice. We have unbelievable quality
Yeah.
streaming going to your TV set now.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. Don't be an idiot.
All right,
It's not the same.
better.
It's
How
not
about
the
this?
same,
Yes,
is it?
it's better.
No, it's not.
Of course
It's not
it's better.
better.
I've got
No, it's
nobody
not.
chewing sweets in front of me.
I tell you,
I've got
I
no
tell
popcorn
you
popping
what.
away
You sat
while I'm trying
here,
to watch something.
that guy there, my mate there,
Yeah.
Chris. Yeah, I met him going seeing a really crap
move on.
movie at the cinema. I met him. I wouldn't have this magazine. I wouldn't be doing this show now.
That's nothing to do with it. That's nothing
No,
to do with
it has.
it.
It's a shared cultural experience.
A
It's
shared
not
cultural
about
experience.
yeah,
But things
exactly.
Things change.
No, they don't.
Things move on.
Cinema has seen off radio, major commercial radio shows. It's seen
No, it's
off
not.
TV.
No, it's not.
Well,
See
it
that
has.
radio?
It has. No, the competition from it. The competition from it, when they're putting a major show on, where there was no TV in the 30s, they were putting a major show on.
We're not in the
People were
50s now, Mike.
No, but everybody said, oh, radio.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll see off.
What do you-
People will stay home
well,
and they'll listen to the radio.
What's the
No, they
favourite
didn't.
thing that
No,
Kris,
they
the
didn't.
producer's watching at the moment? What's the favourite thing he's watching?
What?
What's the favourite thing he's watching?
I don't know.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Loving it.
Yeah, and he loves
Does
cinema
he go to
as well.
cinema?
Yeah, he'll go to the cinema tomorrow when it opens. I can guarantee you that. I know him that well.
I think cinema's
No,
over.
I think
it's time to move on.
I think you're crazy. I think you're an absolute lunatic. I think we should get a straight jacket in here right now.
Who
and
agrees
put you
with me?
somewhere.
Is it time to call it a day with cinema? Are you sick to death of being ripped off? Are you sick to death
You're
of
not
being
being
overcharged
ripped off. You're
for
not
films
being
and
ripped.
for
Oh
food?
God, you're
And the
just
cost of getting there,
not right in the head.
parking, getting the buses.
What do you mean parking? Do you get a free bloody validation now with most cinema chains? It's clear you've not been to a cinema since 1976.
You don't in Blackpool.
You know, it's changed
You don't
since
in Blackpool.
Jaws, you know.
You don't in Blackpool.
What?
You don't in Blackpool.
What do you
park
mean
on
you
the
don't in
streets.
Blackpool?
You don't
Well, why are
car
you going to a cinema in
just saying,
Blackpool when you live
not
in
everything-
bloody Manchester?
not
You
everything's-
nutcase.
Not everything's as simple as you say, and I think it's time to call it a day.
You're mental.
up.
You're crazy.
Grow up.
You're crazy. You need help.
I think we should move on. We got something to play.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, I think that despite this lunacy here, we have got somebody who's involved in the movie industry who did make his position clear. Someone I'm not actually a massive fan of, but I'm suddenly finding his point of view really appealing.
Yeah, it's sort of not how you treat filmmakers and stars and people who, these guys have given a lot for these projects, and they deserved to be consulted and spoken to about what was going to happen to their work.
That's Christopher Nolan candidly addressing Warner Brothers' decision to release its 2021 slate of movies on HBO Max the same day they hit theaters.
There's such controversy around it because they didn't tell anyone. In 2021, they've got some of the top filmmakers in the world. They've got some of the biggest stars in the world who have worked for years, in some cases, on these projects very close to their hearts that are meant to be, you know, big screen experiences. They're meant to be out there for the widest possible audiences, the sort of A release. And now they're being used as a loss leader for the streaming service, for the fledgling streaming service, without any consultation or any. So, yeah, there's a lot of controversy. It's very, 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 very messy. A real bait and switch.
The Oscar-nominated director is back at it with his newest mind-bending thriller, Tenet, starring John David Washington. Both Nolan and Washington are thrilled at the film's success in this most unusual era for moviegoers.
I mean, with the benefit of hindsight, it was great to see how audiences in places where the virus had been managed carefully and efficiently, where they could safely go back to movie theaters, people came back in great numbers, and that was a wonderful thing to see for the future of our business. Obviously, to not be able to travel the world, you know, with everyone involved in the film and have the premieres and experience it with audiences in, you know, Japan or Australia or wherever, you know, there's a source of frustration. And then to not really be able to release the film in the United States is a source of frustration. But at the end of the day, 2020's been a year of tremendous adversity for everybody on the planet. And so, you know, we feel very lucky. I feel very lucky to have been working, to have been engaged in a creative pursuit. I think it's been a really fortunate thing for myself.
I would echo that. It was exciting to know that where it was safe, where they had managed it, places that were able to see it, and the responses have been great. You know, the feedback has been very positive online, and that you know, that makes you feel good because you believe in something. You hope that people get to see it, and in a time and the you know the times we're living in right now, it's the fact that they still got to see it in certain places. It makes you feel good about it.
Yeah, I think one of the most fun things about revisiting a movie like this is seeing the work that you guys did, the actors did, seeing, I mean, with yourself, a lot in the physicality of it, with Rob, you know, a lot with Robert Pattinson is in the film. There's a lot of layers to what he's doing that you watch it again, you see a very different performance the second time, which is really fun. And yeah, I love working on films where if you're interested to watch it again, there's something else to be found there. It's really fun to watch people interpret the work, and you try and leave some things open in there. I mean, obviously we have our version of what's going on and all the rest, but you kind of want to let the work speak for itself. Long term, I think all the studios know that you know, the movie theater experience will bounce back and be a very important part of the ecosystem long term. And so what you have right now in our business is a lot of grappling and the use of the pandemic as an excuse for sort of grappling for short-term advantage, and it's really unfortunate. It's not the way to do business, and it's not the best thing for the health of our industry. But you know, when the theaters are back, you know, and people are going back to the movies, when the vaccines have been rolled out, and there's an appropriate health response from the federal government, you know, I'm very bullish on the long-term prospects of the industry. People love going to the movies, and they're going to get to go again.
Well, that caused a bit of feedback. We've got a few comments here.
Yeah, so people know you can go on the YouTube. There's a little chat thing on it, and so therefore you can make comments, and also you can email. I've got a few emails to read out as well. But you've got some comments there, Mike.
Yeah, I certainly have. Nick is saying cinema rather than TV every day if it was affordable. So there's a caveat.
Good point.
Mark is saying Jaws is a classic. He's a sensible guy, you see. Geeky sci-fi TV, no substitute for cinema. Sorry, modern TV is fantastic, but it doesn't beat the experience of the massive screen, the sound system, and the shared experience with friends. I've really missed it.
Shared?
Yeah.
Well,
of course, where you go with your mates.
Your house, you've got. I mean,
they're not around your house. You're not. Well, they're not allowed.
You've got a system in your.
They're not allowed.
House,
yeah.
Which is like a cinema, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
The sound is incredible.
Yeah, but it's not the
swirls
same.
Around.
It's not the same.
Share a bit of popcorn there.
It's not the same. Well,
you don't go to the toilet.
You can't go there with 15 people, can you?
Like a park. Yeah, but shared experience.
Bunch of mates. Yeah,
you
shared.
Go to the pub for that.
Shared cultural experience, yeah. And then as you're walking out from the film, you start going, "I loved it. It was great," and someone else goes, "No, it wasn't.
Shared cultural experience is a gig.
Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. If you can't see if you can't see the similarity between a gig and going watching a movie, you're not right in the head.
Theatre is something else.
Oh, you're not right in the head, man.
But this is
anyway, right. Mark's saying cinema has more of a future than radio does. Mark says.
No.
That's where he says that. It's not me. Geeky Sci-Fi TV. People say cinema is a rip-off. I disagree. How much is a packet of cigarettes these days? Life choices. See, that's another dig at you, really. That, isn't it? He doesn't even know you smoke, but, you know.
I don't smoke.
Do you not smoke? No. So when you go and hang out the window and all that the vapours are going out of the window in the office, you vape. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I've heard that that's not good for you, though. I'm just saying. Stephen Blackmore saying, love this discussion about cinema food and drinks. They're expensive. Yeah. I will agree there, but I don't think that cinema will end, though. And Mark is saying, and we go for food and drink. You can beat cinema popcorn or a frozen mixed slushy drink. Geeky Sci-Fi TV. It's probably still cheaper than other nights out. Not that big of a deal, really. And Mick is saying a film shared is a special thing. Oh shit, that's good. Oh, that's good, man. Can I use that for the magazine? Do you mind? That's awesome. A film shared is a special thing, so you don't get that, do you?
On a settee.
What are you talking about?
A film shared?
Yeah, it's boring.
You watch, say...
and then some dickhead rings your doorbell and you've got to go and answer that, and then someone else gets a pizza ordered and then it all gets messed about, doesn't it?
One of the emails here, a few actually, but quite a few. Dear Pale, P-A-I-L, that's, I think it means me. The way you portray Trump is absolutely correct in my opinion. My point is that Johnson has done very much the same as Trump, but done it with a smile on his face in a cheeky manner with professional help coming from Cummins. I'm sure that Trump's overall ambition is roughly the same as Johnson's.
Yeah, probably right, that. I'll be honest. That makes sense to me. I'm hearing it. I'd love to argue, but I can't.
As the news bursting through here, the FDA is in accreditation of the new vaccine now, and it is online. So it must gone through.
Yep, brilliant.
America, get jabbing.
Get it.
Get jabbing.
Seriously, you're watching this show, you need to take it. You need to take it. Trust me. And if you end up with having children with 5 legs and 2.5 arms, you know, it's I'll take responsibility for that.
There's an email here from Barry Jasper. It says, I love the show tonight, a fabulous insight. I must email in. Paul, it's utterly correct regarding the cinema debate. It's finished. The cinema debate.
Who is this guy? Who's this guy?
They've overcharged for too long. Drinks, ice cream, popcorn. It's £40 for 2 people to go and watch film. NCP Parks will then charge you £8 on the way out. It's horrendous.
Again, what is this? Is this
horrendous?
Like
so this is a real life
mate?
Person.
Is this your mate that goes with you to Blackpool?
I don't know who it is.
To watch,
cultural experience argument is dead in the water because having friends around your house is the same. Nobody ever asks a stranger.
No, it's not.
Nobody ever asks a stranger to go to the cinema with them. So let's not be silly.
What are you talking about?
That's
you and him
Jez.
want your testing, both of you. I mean, is this your Blackpool mate? Is this your mate you go and meet up with?
Barry, thank you so much for emailing in. We appreciate it.
It's a tragic life you've got, but you know, at least there's someone else you can bond with here. I guess you turn up at Blackpool and watch your little films, you know,
and pay £8 on the way out.
Yeah,
NCP parking, get charged £40 for 2 tickets. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the real life.
There is. I don't know a cinema that doesn't.
It's turned into a joke.
Validate your parking.
It's turned into a joke. This, and we're laughing about it.
They validate your parking.
But in reality,
at cinemas.
Mike, in reality of it,
what?
You are not the same bloke you was when you was taking the kids to the cinema, taking 2 or 3 kids to the cinema. You don't do that now. You're older.
What is he talking about?
You go to the cinema with you go to the cinema with 2 or 3 kids
to
watch some Frozen 2 or something. Buy them all popcorn, buy them all drinks. That's expensive.
No, it's cheap for a paedophile, though, isn't it?
You're being a dick now. Let's move on.
Okay, we do have the validation of the election on Monday. But he's going on with himself here. What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Yorkshire. Oh, that right. Sutcliffe stuff. Right. On Monday, the 14th, the Electoral College meets in America. So that will be it. Totally, perfectly done, signed off.
Yeah.
Even Betfair are paying out on all the bets. It's over at that point. So how are Trump supporters coping with this? Because some of them are having a really difficult time.
All right. This is a little bit personal, but I think you might be able to relate. You're a Trump supporter. I'm a Trump supporter. Not all of our friends dig Trump, and they dig us less because we dig Trump. Have you been feeling the heat from your friends? Are some of them threatening to not talk to you or wondering why you are a crazy person? I've gotten that a lot lately. And one very interesting exchange from some people I love and adore. I hope they're friends for the rest of my life. But they told me about how their son has been following me on Twitter, and they've called my Twitter feed pure evil. Pure evil. So it really made me think, and I stopped and wrote a little text message back. Again, I wrote it with love. First of all, they offered me $20,000 a month to stop. This is a kid, by the way, the son we're talking about. He's 21. I don't know how they came up with that figure, but this is what I wrote back. I am supporting those filing lawsuits in court. I have a hunch that your son supported the Black Lives Matter movement and their protests, a socialist organization that supports dismantling the nuclear family. People rioted in their name and were praised almost universally. There's nothing that's happening now that undermines democracy on our side. Article 2 and the 12th Amendment allow for all of this, including contesting the matter within the Electoral College. Joe DeGeneva, we talked about him personally, they mentioned him. I know Joe DeGeneva personally. I've had dinner with him and his wife. He was not threatening anyone. If we condemn him, let's condemn anyone who's ever said, I want to kill somebody. Figure of speech that I've uttered a million times. I'd ask your son if he noticed there wasn't rioting when it was reported that Joe Biden was the apparent winner. Seems like a lot of people were anticipating violence, plywood over businesses, etc. But it did not happen. If the results were different, does he think the left would have refrained from violence and rioting? Would rioting after a Trump victory have been anti-democratic? Would that have been pure evil? Rhetorical question, of course, not asking him to answer. By the way, Crown Season 4 is pretty boring. And I want to go back to that point about the red hat, make America great again. If you really think our side is evil, what would happen if you wore that hat in the heart of New York City? I live and work in the heart of New York City. If I wore that hat home, walking about 3 miles or so, I wouldn't make it home. I would not make it home. And they say our side is evil. All right. If my friends are watching, I do want to remind them that I love you guys and you're the best people. And we may disagree politically. That's fine. That's totally fine. At least for me. I hope it is for you.
Tribal, tribal, tribal.
Please wear that hat. Listen, Greg Kelly on Newsmax, please wear that hat. Please wear that hat. Go for a jog round Central Park. Please wear that hat. Just for me. Do me that favour.
It's unbelievable what's going on. But here in the UK, I mean, I remember the day when the vote came and we were doing this show, the podcast. Downstairs in the radio studios, we were doing a show and we came into the studio that day when it decided that we're leaving Europe, and me and you, we could hardly look at each other, couldn't we?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that day.
That feeling inside me, I was gutted. I was absolutely. I'm thinking, not just for me, but I'm thinking about kids wanting to go and work in Europe. Yeah. Fantastic. Bands touring, music, bands just go off and tour. I fancy playing in Germany tonight. Off you went in a band. I'm involved in music. And that opportunity went bang, all because of money.
And all the way through this, I've been arguing on this show for years that there is no such thing as sovereignty, or as the Brexit lot say, sovereignty. Yeah, sovereignty is a weird concept these days because you can't alter what you do. anymore. You have to have similar employment laws, otherwise people will leave and work in a different country. You have to have similar interest rates on banking, otherwise the money will be taken out of our banks and put into bank accounts elsewhere. There is no sovereignty anymore. There is no freedom. We have a global economy. We have a global workforce where everything is global now. And this idea that we can roll back the clock to the point when we were, we had the Queen Victoria was Empress of India, is mental. It's mental. And you're all crazy, all of you that voted for this. All you've done is cost the country a load of money.
Well, Trump, when he came into power, the first thing he did, he thought, look after the rich. I'll cut the taxes. And there's people who are Trump supporters saying, he cut taxes. It doesn't affect them. It affects the very rich. And who's going to be benefit from Brexit? It's not going to be me. It's not going to be you. No. Who's going to benefit?
Yeah.
People who
offshore bank accounts that were about to be scrutinised by the EU.
One of the sticking points, they're about to scrutinise.
They were about to bring in legislation so that you were not able to just put piles of cash into offshore bank accounts, not pay tax, and get away with robbery. And all of Boris Johnson's mates and all of Nigel Farage's mates and all these other people, these assholes who have inflicted this on the country, were all part of this. And they wanted to stop the EU from having that influence. And that's what this is all about. It's what it's all
They're trying to push it on the fishing rights. And I think it's 1.8% of our economy is fishing.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with fishing rights.
Absolute.
The levelling up of the countries, now that's a different story, because Europe won't accept and deal with a country who doesn't have the workers don't have the same rights as the other Europeans.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. So, and here, now why wouldn't the Tories want that? Because they were saying they could have an advantage. For example, cheaper labour, cheaper costs. So therefore, Europe's saying, well, no, you've got an advantage because you're not paying the people the right price. You know who's going to.
But the plan was good. Boris's plan was good because he had America. He had a lunatic in office over there who was going to do a massive trade deal. So we just point out, this is fact. Don't take my word on it. Do your homework. 43% of our exports go to the EU. 43% of our exports.
It's actually 51%.
Yeah, well, I'm being conservative. I'm talking before before you go through that. Yeah, no worries. Well,
43%.
Yeah, well, you know, it's still bad. Yeah. No matter what way you look at it, it's about half of our output goes to the EU. So whether you want to believe that or not, that is a fact that you can check. So you've got to replace that. And Boris was going to replace around about 25% of that with a deal with America. And oopsie, Biden won. And he's a little bit fucked. So he's now waiting to try to accept any crumbs that he can take. And I think I will put the boat out here and I will make a prediction that he will accept a deal that will be not what the Brexit lot wanted. And I think he's going to accept that on Sunday or Monday. And I think that there is no choice because he doesn't have a deal with America now because of Biden winning. So he's knackered. So this is it.
He accepts a deal which the right wing of his party, which he's part of or pretends to be part of, and it is a pretend to be part of.
Yeah, it is.
If he goes down that road, then they won't be happy, will they?
Well, let's have a look at. We got a video that'll bring you up to date on this, and we can listen to Mr. Hancock and see what he has to say about it.
Let's talk to the Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab, who joins us now. Look, good to see you this morning. Is this a definite now? Do we need to have a yay or a nay by Sunday?
I think we probably do. You never rule anything out in talks with the EU. The Prime Minister has shown he wants to leave no stone unturned in the search for a deal. That's why he was out in Brussels speaking to Ursula von der Leyen. He's also made clear, and I think both sides recognise there are still significant differences between them. We'll continue with the negotiations this week. I think they'll take a stocktake and decide the future of the negotiations on Sunday. And the point from the UK side is, as I said, we will leave no stone unturned. We would like a free trade deal with the EU, but we're not going to sacrifice the basic points of democratic principle on fisheries, on control over our laws as we leave the transition period. And I think it's important that's recognised on the EU side. And if they do, I think the scope for a deal is still there to be done.
And yet it's only last year that the Prime Minister said that it would be a failure of statecraft if we left with no deal when it comes to trade. I mean, why has it got this far if that's his view?
Well, we obviously have left with a deal in terms of the withdrawal agreement and the Northern Ireland Protocol, but in relation to the FDA, frankly, we just haven't seen enough pragmatism and flexibility on the EU side. And it's worth just reminding people at home what we're talking about here. We're talking about two key points. There's a range of issues, but two key points. The concept that the UK would leave the transition period as an independent coastal state, but without control of our fisheries. That's something that no country in the world has accepted, is in the position of. Why would the UK? And likewise, when we leave, we should be in control of our laws. We'll accept the kind of requirements in the EU's own free trade agreements, whether it's Korea or Canada, often talked about. What we're not going to do is allow the EU undemocratically to control our laws in this country. And I think those are two basic points of principle that no other country around the world would accept in dealing with the EU or anyone else as an independent state. And I think it's important that the EU recognises that. If it does, a free trade deal is still there to be done. If it won't, I think on Sunday we take stock and we take a decision, and both sides recognise we need some finality on where we are.
I mean, where does that leave the UK in terms of negotiation? I mean, we can make as many demands as we like. It doesn't mean they're going to be met. We've got to be prepared to compromise on something, haven't we?
Yes, exactly. And that's why we got to the position we have of saying, OK, we'll look at the deals that you've done with Canada. That something like that would seem to be about right. We've been flexible on the issue of fisheries. We recognise the need to transition. But what we're not going to do is indefinitely allow the EU to control our fisheries or our laws. And I think most people would recognise that, and countries around the world wouldn't accept those terms. The EU wouldn't accept those terms dealing with anyone else. So those are the points of democratic principle. If the EU accepts them, there's a deal to be done. But I think given the gaps that remain, we'll keep going at it. That's why the PM was out in Brussels. He wants to get a deal. We're doing everything we can. I think we behave reasonably and flexibly and pragmatically throughout. And if the EU reciprocate, there's still a deal to be done. If it doesn't, we'll take stock. We'll do that on Sunday, and we'll be prepared to leave on Australia-style terms and make a success of Brexit.
Australia-style terms. What a cracker. It was Dominic Raab, not Matt Hancock. I do apologise for that. They look so interchangeable, all of these tossers, to be honest. I can't remember any of them. The only one that stands out is Priti Patel. Because,
she's a vampire.
Your Spitting Image have done a cracking job with her, haven't they?
A quick email to read out just before we go.
Yep.
This one's from Eddie. Eddie over in Ireland. That is the point, Mike. They're given so many reasons to keep this quiet. They want to reduce our employment and working rights and then privatise the NHS.
Correct. That's literally it. I mean, I've got
a few messages before we go.
Yeah, I'm just having a look now. You've got a rebuttal to your cinema comment.
Okay.
Mark is saying, if you were on a blind date, then yes, you would take a stranger to the cinema.
I'd go to other places, perhaps.
Would you? Well, Blackpool, obviously.
No, perhaps Buffet.
Yeah, it's a good bar.
There you go.
It's a
good
nice
show.
bar.
Good show.
Yeah.
And then I'll say goodbye. But don't forget, we have a Twitter account, and a big thanks to Nick as well, who runs that. It's M_candidates, at Twitter, M_candidates. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel wherever you point and press. Till next week.
Down here.
Oh, other news as well. Christmas.
Yeah.
We're going through, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We're not stopping.
All the way through.
Yeah.
So every Thursday, every Thursday.
We'll be here while you're spreading COVID everywhere.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Thank you for watching. I'm impressed. You've passed the IQ test and got this far, so let's press that button. Let's do the last thing that helps us. It's got subscribe on it, you can't miss it, and please ring the bell for notifications of future videos.